All right. Give me a second. Just waiting for the Facebook audience to join us. What? Fixing my camera. That's right. You see a little bit of Jets there. Just a little bit. Hey, Facebook Live, YouTube Live. Are we ready to roll? I'm here talking New York Jets football. It is Tuesday afternoon, August 23rd. Happy belated birthday to myself. It was yesterday. Yeah, that's right, I did it. I'm Dan Salem. I wished myself a happy birthday belated. All right. Live on Facebook. We're live on the YouTube channel, BuzzChomp. Doozies. I am at the Dan Salem. Okay, give me 1 second. Facebook. Come back to us. There we go. I am at the Dan Salem on Facebook and on Twitter. Shoot me your questions, comments during the week. I am going to be talking Jets football straight through till the end of the season. Hopefully through the playoffs if there's stuff to discuss. I think there will be this year. I like to kick things off talking about last week's game. The Jets faced the Washington Redskins. This is the preseason, so cue the overreactions. That's right. All we saw all week was how awful the Jets played against the Washington Redskins. Blah, 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 blah. Should I keep doing that? Blah, blah. This is the preseason. Okay, so yeah, sure. You want to make a big deal out of nothing? Go right ahead. The Redskins won their division last year. They're probably going to be pretty good again this season. Didn't lose too many guys. We didn't start all of our best players. And honestly, we're just working out the kinks. It's the preseason. Preseason, not real season, preseason. Still, we're in the game till the end, so if you really want to count wins and losses, we lost this one in the buzzer beater at the end. No big deal. 1-1, whoop-de-frickin-do. It's the preseason. So, the main takeaways here. For me, oh man, Bryce Petty played the entire second half and absolutely just crushed it. He's playing for his job now because honestly, if he doesn't show anything, we're going to cut him. And he showed a lot, which makes this very, very interesting. I'll get to that shortly in a bit. Geno Smith, Ryan Fitzpatrick, each did fine first half. Blah. Forte wasn't showing. I wasn't expecting him to. He dressed. That's nice. Wasn't expecting him to play. And Hackenberg, the main notable absence, right? So, let's talk about this. He is the only rookie quarterback to not see any time in the preseason thus far. Now, for those unfamiliar, the first two preseason games are generally when the rookie, especially the rookie quarterbacks, get a little time on the field. Because by the third and the fourth game, which we're coming up on the third this weekend against the New York Giants, you want to get your starters in there. You want them to stretch their legs. You are finalizing roster spots, and if the rookie's just going to be carried on the roster for development for the future, he's not going to see the field, which probably means unless Hackenberg comes in the fourth quarter on Saturday, he is not seeing the field in the preseason, which means, okay, Facebook, you stink. YouTube, perfect. Facebook, yeah. What? If Hackenberg does not see the field in the fourth quarter, which maybe he gets the final series on Saturday night, maybe. But if he doesn't see the field, he's not going to see the field likely until next year, next August, this time. He's going to ride the bench, get a lot of reps, learn a lot from Ryan Fitzpatrick, which is a tremendous mentor, if I must say so. He is a great, great mentor. Years in the league, smart dude. He's going to teach him a lot. So, just interesting. Only rookie not to see the field as a quarterback. I actually don't expect him to. I don't think the Jets can afford to put him in this game. They need to see more out of Petty and Geno and Ryan Fitzpatrick. So, Hackenberg's going to continue to watch from the sidelines. That's fine by me. No major injuries coming out of last week's game. I'm just going to reiterate the fact that the major loss, oh, let me go this here so Facebook can see. Major loss was no such thing. I mean, it's the preseason. Our defense didn't look great. Washington's offense looked pretty good. And our offense, number ones, this is number ones. Our starting offense and our starting defense didn't look great. That's okay. The highlight of the game, Darrelle Revis, interception. That's right. First time back on the field, interception. That's great. I told you he had a chip on his shoulder last week, and he's already playing like it, stealing a pick in the preseason action against the Redskins. So, look, a little highlight too, to go with all those lows. All right, moving on, because it's a freaking preseason. Why am I going to run rampant on the negatives from one measly, barely loss that doesn't really count as a loss because it's the preseason? So, surprises, injuries, headlines. Major surprises. I guess now there's a three-way race for the final receiver spot on the Jets. Another player showed some promise in that preseason game. I should have written down his name, and I'm blanking. But we got a 7th rounder and 2 undrafted receivers all competing for roster spots, and they're all looking really good. I believe, what the heck's his name? Frank. Well, I like Sharon Peak personally. He's the 7th rounder. And then they got the 2 undrafted guys, which since they're undrafted, they have not made a name for themselves yet, and they're barely making a name in my mind. But that being said, I'm going to continue to scroll and see if I can find it for you. Not important. We'll see. If he makes a statement again this weekend, then there's something worth talking about. I really think it's Sharon Peak's job to lose. The other 2 guys are kind of competing for punt returning duties. And it's interesting that there's a battle on the depth chart for wide receiver. They're saying maybe they'll replace Devin Smith since he's still battling injury, never really materialized as our speed threat. And one notable injury, which happened today, linebacker Jordan Jenkins injured his calf. I hope it's not serious. We're really thin at linebacker, so we need him. We need him to get back on the field quickly. That's just more breaking news, if you will. Also, Jets had a visit with former Bills running back Carlos Williams. I'm not going to read anything into that because we're just trying to really solidify depth on the running back position, just in case. I think they're reporting. I like Rich Samini. He's reporting due diligence. That's the way I would characterize this as well. Due diligence. Seeing what's out there. Is he better than what we got? That only tells me one main thing. Kyrie Robinson, not showing a lot yet. Not showing it. I wanted him to show it. He's not showing it. They're going to replace him at running back. Any questions before I move forward to this weekend's action? None yet. So, I shall continue forward. I said no Hackenberg yet in the preseason. Well, the next game against the New York Giants, rivalry game. This is the best game of the preseason every single year, Jets-Giants, because we play every single year. When Rex Ryan was coach, he had a little Peanuts trophy. I have a feeling that has gone the way of his other antics when he left. But, nonetheless, I'm fun of this game. It usually makes the television, and my brother being a Giants fan, it is awesome to try to gain some bragging rights, regardless of who wins. The Giants are 0-2 in the preseason. Don't read into that. Jets are 1-1. Don't read into that. But no. Will Matt Forte actually see the field this game? I say no. Why rush these guys into action before they're ready? It's the preseason. Forte, I think, will get a series, maybe 2, in the final game, which, if I'm not mistaken, is against the Philadelphia Eagles, yes, on September 1st. Preseason football in September, I don't like it. Anyways, against the Giants, I don't think Forte sees the field, and I don't think Hackenberg does either, because no matter what the Jets are saying publicly, they don't want to carry 4 quarterbacks into the regular season. They'd rather have an extra running back, an extra receiver. They got those 3 really rookie receivers. We'd like to bring them all in, which means we may have to dump one of our 4 quarterbacks. And that means it's either Geno or Bryce Petty that's going to be shown the door. Yep. We're all rooting for Bryce Petty to overtake Geno Smith. It's just hard. Geno left a very bad taste in my mouth as a Jets fan. He had a pretty good season, then a pretty bad season, and then a lot of off-the-field issues. And I gained a ton of respect for Skip Bayless. I had a good amount of respect for him beforehand, but I remember heading into the draft, he was so down on Geno Smith being like all his off-the-field antics, just red flag, red flag, red flag. He's going to be a pain in the butt for whichever team takes him. The Jets took him too early, and he has not quite lived up to the hype. I don't know, was it really hype? He was a second-round quarterback. That's probably like 1 in 4 make. I don't know. 1 in 4 become starters out of second round. I don't know, but we're not going to dump Hackenberg because he was a second-round pick this past year, and that means we want to give him a little development time and see what he can do next season. Therefore, 4th-rounder Petty, Geno. Geno's a free agent, I believe, after this year or sooner if we can cut him. And if Bryce Petty has another half a game like he did last week, I mean, I don't see how you keep Geno and don't give Bryce Petty the second quarterback job. Why keep 4 when you don't need to? Now, the reports are this week that Geno outplayed Bryce in practice. I think I've heard this before. Geno Smith always seems to just excel in practice. That's wonderful. So you were really good. Except that in the games, when the pressure is higher, you got to think quicker. You got to make the decision without second-guessing yourself. He doesn't play quite as well. And that's when it matters. I mean, honestly, it's okay. So you make your mistakes in practice. That is what practice is for. I know Allen Iverson dumped on practice, but practice is for working out the kinks, trying new things, and making those mistakes so you don't make them in the game. It's not for being perfect and then making the mistakes in the game. That is the opposite. So, if Bryce Petty excels again, he got the whole second half last week. He's going to get at least a full quarter, maybe a second whole half again. I bet Geno gets a quarter, and then Petty gets a half, because management would love to see Petty boot Geno out the door. Geno's the old guard. Petty was brought in with the new administration and the new guard. They'd like to keep their guy and get rid of the old guy. Plus, they'll save some money in the process. So, my unofficial prediction here, Geno Smith gets cut before the season starts. Bryce Petty wins that second quarterback job. The Jets don't carry 4. There's no need to carry 4. Bryce Petty gets to be the backup because he's earned it, not because they're gifting it to him. He freaking earned it. And Geno, he'll get picked up by another team because, I mean, he's a solid backup, potentially fill-in starter. And there's a lot of teams that need him. I mean, Cowboys need a veteran backup potentially. Fresh start for Geno is going to be a fresh start, and he'll do better no matter where he goes. So, I think that they show him the door. Pause as our Facebook audience attempts. There they go. They rejoined us. This thing seems just like the spool, huh? It must be talking too much. That's the only thing I can figure. Any questions from either live audience before we hit our next topic for the day? All right. I'll scratch my nose and barring no questions moving forward. Fantasy impact. Well, I'm happy to say that I snatched up Matt Forte in fantasy football because 2 things. He's coming off an injury and he's joining a new team, meaning his price was pretty low. I mean, the top running backs in our league, we did auction, going for over $50. Forte, not even close to that. I think I got him in the 20s, $29. He is week 1, and he's being undervalued, which makes him really, really smart pickup. Grab him a little earlier. The Jets early. They might be on the way in fantasy. They barely threw to him last season. I don't see why that would change. Fitzpatrick had a career year not throwing to the tight ends. So why are they going to? Just keep them in. They're going to block. So we're going to have a great running game, and they're going to block, and we're going to have a great passing game out of the backfield. So avoid them. Don't do it. You're just going to shoot yourself in the foot wasting a pick on one of those Jets tight ends right now. Unless everything changes by week 3, and then sure, go grab them. But not right now. No, not even close. Any questions? any fantasy advice you'd like from me. I've been writing fantasies Would You Rather the last couple of weeks here. Very interesting debates about one player versus another. I have strong opinions. All right. Yeah, really 4 quarterbacks. That's my main takeaway this week in preseason week 3. There's no way we're carrying 4. I just don't see it happening. It does not make any sense because Geno and Petty are too similar. Petty's cheaper. He's been playing better in the actual games. And he's been drafted by the new GM, not the old GM. Meaning, bye-bye Geno. It's been an interesting ride. I wish you well. But you're not going to be on the team. It's just funny. The anniversary of his getting punched in the jaw, people were attempting to like say nice things about him, that he stood up for himself nicely, and he got all. Man, any press is good press in general, and this was pretty good press. Read the article or something? I don't know. Don't get mad. It's the New York. If they're giving you a half compliment, that's like a whole compliment anywhere else in the country. So, all right. Final thoughts on the Jets here before they head towards a major game. I say major game with the Giants because it's a rivalry game and I love it, but it doesn't mean a damn thing. Let's take a quick peek at the depth chart. Did ESPN update their depth charts? Their depth charts stink. They like barely update these things, and I don't understand why. Like, how hard is it to update the depth chart? They got this stinks. I don't have anybody of these players here. Was it Jeremy Ross I was thinking of? No. They stink. Come on, list all the players. Why can't I see everyone on the team? It doesn't make any sense to me why you would not update your roster. You are the worldwide leader in sports, and yet you can't keep an accurate depth chart for the life of you. I mean, what the hell? I go to see stats on the Yankees, and it still shows Carlos Beltran as the team leader. Carlos Beltran hasn't been on the team in a month. Update your freaking website. What happened to all of you? Did you just like fire half of your web crowd, and then you're just like, oh, no one's going to notice. They like us too much. That is lazy. Stop being lazy. I'm going to find a new website. I can't freaking see the roster. Back to the Jets. Sorry, I rant on the Yankees. I'd love to know who's leading the team in home runs now, but I can't. It's still Beltran according to ESPN, and I don't really want to go find another website to search on right now because I'm live talking to you. So we'll deal with that later. Wide receivers. Yes, it is Jalen Marshall, Sharon Peak, and Louis Tompkinson. What was the other one I was thinking of? Robbie Anderson? No. I guess it was Robbie Anderson. Doesn't sound right. Anyways, they might be there. Maybe ESPN's got it listed wrong again because they seem to just list things incorrectly. This is my plea, but I'm just being ignorant and not going to a better website. Not too much. No matter how many games that they win, they're still about 6.5, 7 games out in the division and about 4 games out in the wild card. I think they're 3 or 4 games over 500 now. Same place in the standings. But Gary Sanchez, oh my goodness, freaking amazing. Like, we're going to have the AL MVP catcher next season. This is like lock it down. Love that. And Aaron Judge playing like a mother beast. And our young pitchers, Chad Green, they've been performing well. That's been fun. On the Giants, it looks like Victor Cruz has shown himself in practice, which is good news. He may not see a lot of reps in the games, but he's a veteran presence. They want to slot him in. You can't ignore him when he's on the field. So you ease him in, and hopefully he can have a major impact for that team's offense. Other news and notes. Former Jet Antonio Cromartie signed with the Indianapolis Colts. I'm glad to see he got picked up by a team. He was always really good. He's just a great presence on the field, even if he doesn't put up the numbers anymore and in his later veteran years of his career. Hashtag Jets Camp's got the top 40 photos from the last month of camp. Aw. Buster screen, a luxury. I guess that's one way of putting it. And it's the MetLife Bowl. There we go. That's the official hashtag for Jets versus Giants. Hashtag MetLife Bowl. Because, as everybody knows, the Jets and the Giants both play in MetLife Stadium. Because we couldn't think of a cooler name for the stadium and just sold the sponsorship rights for the rookie to watch in the AFC East, according to Sports Illustrated. I agree. He's going to really show something. This is his defense. The Jets defense is striving to be better than last season. I think they can do it. This is an exciting team. This is an exciting team. They got what? Vegas put them at 8 wins as the over-under. If I was in Vegas right now, I would bet that over in a second. They won 10 games last year. They're not winning fewer than 9. I see this as a 10 or an 11 win team easy and in the playoffs. 8 is a joke. It's a joke. Anybody in Vegas want to place a bet for me? That's a joke. Any questions here today before we say sayonara and you can enjoy your week, enjoy your Saturday evening, afternoon football action? It's the preseason, so you can only enjoy it as much as you drink alcohol to enjoy it because it's bad football. It's bad football, just saying. I got no questions here on the Facebook Live audience. No questions here on the YouTube Live audience. Well, you guys have been great. These will be in the internet is forever, or as long as I leave them up, which will be for a little while at least, as long as you're watching. If you're watching, they're staying up. If you're not watching, they're disappearing, and you'll never know they existed. I'm Dan Salem, at the Dan Salem on Facebook, at the Dan Salem on Twitter, live on BuzzChomp on YouTube. If you want to shoot me questions, like I said, at the Dan Salem on the Twitter, at BuzzChomp with 3 Z's on Twitter. Questions, comments, photos, keep them PG-13, please. I will be here next Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific. That is 8 Eastern. Talking the Jets. We'll have one final preseason game before it is week 1 time, baby. Thank you for joining me. You've been great. Next week, peace out. Go Gang Green.